Hello, my family. Today is the day I'm going to be making scalloped potatoes. Thank you God we had gotten a break from this extreme heat. It actually feels very nice here. We're going to have a couple days of this until, well, hell's going to creep back upon us and it's going to get really hot. So I'm going to take advantage of these cool times. I'll be making hubby this week, up until Friday, that is when this heat comes back. So I'll be doing the scalloped potatoes. I'll be doing some bread for the Flour It Up challenge. And I am going to be making hubby some chocolate chip cookies that are low carb. And I have another dessert which is like a Oreo, but it's chocolate waffles with a cream cheese filling that is also keto and low carb. So I got a few things between now and Friday I want to get done. Before I do the scalloped potatoes, and I'm doing two ways. One will be for low carb, one will be regular all-American. Now I will be going back to doing Mediterranean foods very soon. I need to get back on it and I miss it. So I will be doing quite a few of those type of recipes again. I was really pleased to find that there were some folks who really enjoyed the Mediterranean food, so I definitely need to put more of that out there. We do have a lot of low carbs, so I just need a little bit more for me as well. So I'm going to be sharing all of this on top of, I mean, it's basically, the Mediterranean can be all American too. So, but the one tip I wanted to show you, and I'm not sure many know about this, there are, when I store my jars, whether it be, now this is a half-gallon size, I have pints, I have various other sizes, but when I go to store for the long haul, I like to keep, especially if I don't have moisture packages and stuff like that, I like to try to keep the air out of my jars. Now, there are a couple ways you can do this. I know they got little battery operated devices that you can put over the tops of your lids with these food savers like this, and I've done the same thing. We have a vacuum sealer and it works as well too, but I found one I think I like better than that. One, it does not require electricity, and even though the battery operated one don't either, I don't know, I just prefer, I don't know, I just different type of methods. This one here is actually quite unique. I ran across this 4 years ago, and so I went on Amazon and I purchased a brake bleeder kit. It's never been used on a vehicle. And inside of this kit, actually, it comes, let's see if we can do this. Whoops. It comes with the hoses, and then it comes with the pump. Now, this one I got, let me take this off. The hose that I use has this end. And so what I'll do is I will take the lid. Now this is for a wide mouth. I will put my lid on top of my jar. I will take this, place it on top. I will pop this in the center of that hole. Attach this hose to the brake bleeder, and then I will do this for 15 to 20 pounds of pressure. And I have had every jar seal. It stayed fresh. It's been absolutely amazing what I've seen out of these, and I have had great success. Let me put this up. And I'm holding that right by that ring. They hold well. So and what's nice is every time I open up a jar, I can go back and do this again, and it seals it right back up. So it doesn't matter how many times I do that. That is a way of doing sealing up your jars off-grid, no electricity, easy, compact. To me, I put all my equipment together, close it off. There was a piece I left, there it is. I close this off, and then I put it away. Simple as that. It takes me no time to do this. So I thought I'd give that little tip to you if you were like me and didn't always have the moisture packages. Keeping these sealed like this in my high humidity, I honestly have not gotten anything in my jars to disturb them, not even the humidity. So I have kept that method with me for 4 years now. So I thought I'd go ahead and share that with you. And we're fixing to break open a jar of these because we're using this tonight and we're going to get started. So let's go to the kitchen. Okay, everyone, so right now we are going to do the All-American one, and then the next mix of the scallop potato mix that we'll be doing will be the low-carb. This is the one where I had shown you about using dried dehydrated homemade potatoes and then making your own scallop potato dry mix. I'm going to show you how simple this is with just 2 things on your shelf that you can make this. Another thing I'm going to bring up, because I will be adding cheese to this, turning this from scallop potatoes into au gratin. But if you did not want to use fresh cheese and still wanted that au gratin flavor, kind of like you would get when you purchase your dry mixes at the store, the prepackaged stuff, you throw it together and you throw it in your oven. There is a way you can do that as well. I purchased these 2 from Amazon, and you can add your preference of flavoring, whether you wanted to use powdered cheddar cheese or white cheddar. So you can add these to your mixes like this and have it au gratin mix instead of scallops, or add it to it as you're making your dish. I don't actually have a recipe amount on how much of this cheese to add. I would go based by how much cheese you like to do. So these are another option you can do, and it's shelf-stable as well. It's really easy to do. Now I am only doing a half batch of this. So the other thing about it, and I'm going to show you actually how I seal this as well after I'm finished. But another thing that we're doing is, instead of adding ham to these scallops or au gratin potatoes, I am using products that I have in my freezer. And I have what's called pork souvlaki. And pork souvlaki is kind of like kofta. It's meat on a stick, a very flavorful Mediterranean meat. So we're actually going to add that to our scallop potatoes. The flavor balance will go very well with this. So what I am going to do, the recipe calls for very simply, after your mix is made up, which I made a video on how to make this mix, please go back to that one. I'll find the link and put that in there so you can refer back to how this was made. But it says to use a half a cup of mix with 2 3/4 cup of boiling water. Again, I am only doing half of this. And then I will need 2 tablespoons of butter. I am actually going to be using ghee. And I will be right back because I need to get some of that ghee. Alright, y'all. So the ghee I'm using is my homemade version. So I'm going to go ahead and get that, my tablespoon in there worth. Need something smaller than this. I definitely need to make some more ghee, that's for sure. I like using ghee because the fat is easier to digest. It kind of cuts down the calories on it too. So to me, ghee is healthier. It's very flavorful, especially the homemade version. Now I am going to be adding a half a cup, but for me, I'm only going to use half of that. So, and now we're going to cover this up. I'll go ahead and get the, oh wow, okay, so I see what I did. I double lidded this. That's interesting. Alright, so let me go ahead and get this device and I'll show you how we seal this. Alright, my family, so I have my lid on my jar. I'm going to make sure that there's no debris on the rim. Put my lid on top, cover it with my proper setting on it. Going to insert my unit inside that hole. It is attached to the pressure bleeder, and I'm just going to pump it up till I get about 15 to 20 in pressure. Sometimes I even have to do this. Okay, there's almost 20 pounds of pressure. Release it. Pull up my lid. And there you have it. It's all sealed. No moisture is going to get inside of that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away now that this is sealed. Put this on my shelf and continue with my mix. Okay, y'all. I do that because basically I don't have those fancy Mylar bags and all this. At this time, back when I got that one, that was my cheapest method. It has worked effectively ever since, and I've just kept it. So now I'm going to need 1 cup, well, 2 3/4 cup of boiling water. Again, I'm only doing half of this. That's 1. I'm going to go half of a 3/4. Oops, too much. There we go. Set that aside. Now, I'm going to take my whisk and I'm going to blend this up really well, making sure that I melt any butter or ghee. That actually smells really good, y'all. It really does. And it looks just like the stuff you would get from the stores, honestly, but it smells better. Fresh. That's what that's a good way of saying this. This is smelling fresh. So I just want this blend really well. Melt any butter or ghee that you may use in this. And now I'm going to turn around and do the next. And I'm doing these both because I got my oven preset and we're going to cook both of them at the same time. So now I'm going to get my little dish out. My 1-person dish, and then this way I can honestly turn around and freeze part of this because I'm not going to eat this whole thing, just to be honest. So the next thing this will do, the recipe again calls for a half a cup of the dry mix to 2 3/4 cup of boiling water, 2 tablespoons of butter. And then at that point, that mix will be good for 3 cups of home dehydrated potatoes. Again, I am only doing half of this. So now I'm going to go into my potatoes. And by the way, I ended up getting 1.5 gallons of potatoes to preserve. This is not, and I will state that, this is not for a diabetic, y'all. I want to shift my potatoes because I want to make sure that I get the right measurements for this. Oops, well, not like that. Okay, that's about a cup right there. And now I need a half a cup. All right, oops, one jumped out on me. Now I'm just going to break these apart in here. Spread them out really good. Seal this off. And I still got plenty of more meals out of this. Look at that. We didn't use hardly that much. So now I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some cheddar cheese in there, but right now I'm going to be adding this meat. So, and I have this divided up for me and hubby. And I'm just going to go ahead and spread some of this. This is pre-cooked, so it's not going to hurt it though. It's just going to be added into our mix or dishes. So there's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and pour this sauce mix over the top of my potatoes, making sure that I cover them in here. Now I'm just going to take and press my potatoes down into this liquid. They will get absorbed into this. And now I'm going to sprinkle some of this cheese on top. Cover this up with aluminum foil, and then this will go into a 350-degree oven for about a half hour. So now I'm going to sprinkle some cheese in here because I'm making more of an au gratin type. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside after I cover it up with aluminum foil, and we will go ahead and begin prepping the low-carb version, and then put both of these in the oven at the same time. So we'll be right back, and as soon as I get this covered, we'll start on the other one. Okay, y'all, so in the low-carb version of scalloped potatoes, the star of this dish would be a turnip. That is going to be your potato replacement. So I have peeled these, washed and peeled these turnips, and now I'm going to use my mandolin on a thin slice so that I can use these for these potatoes. I'm going to go ahead and get this sliced up. I like to watch what I'm doing very carefully. These things make me nervous. After I get all of these sliced up, I'm going to go ahead and get them to where I can arrange them on the baking dish. We again are doing a half version of this dish, so I'm going to get these sliced, and like I said, they are really thin, just like you would a potato, and that's what we're going to use. So let me get this sliced up and we will be right back. Okay, my beautiful family, so now all of these have been sliced. And I did use my safety piece on that too. So some things make me nervous on that. So I've seen too many bad accidents. So I did use my safety device. So anyways, I'm going to put this aside now. And we're going to go ahead and start our low-carb scalloped potato sauce. So we're going to switch out recipes. Going to get this pot, get a pot situated. I'm going to bring you over and we're going to put this together. Okay, y'all, so now this recipe, this low carb version, is from YouTube channel Papa G's. Now, Papa G has some amazing dishes, and I will, in the description box below, add his link to this recipe. So I'm going to show you the low carb version, that it is possible to make a scalloped potato this way as well. So I have, like I said, I'm doing half of this recipe, so it calls for 6 medium turnips peeled and sliced, 3 cups of heavy whipping cream, which this is what this is heavy whipping cream. I need a tablespoon of minced garlic, but I am going to be using my homemade garlic powder. So I'm going to go less than that because it is concentrated into a powder, so I'm going to go about half a tablespoon. And even less than that because this is half a recipe. I need 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Two tablespoons of sour cream. 3 tablespoons of chopped dried chives, which this will be divided. I'm only going to add a portion of this in here right now, so the rest we'll use for topping. 1 tablespoon of minced onion. Again, I am going to be using less than that because I am using the dried onions that we dehydrated. And if you want to, I'm going to go ahead and add some fresh in here as well. It's not going to hurt it. It'll add some more flavor, and hubby likes onions. 1 3/4 teaspoon of salt. I am going to be using less than that. We don't usually eat that much salt. So I'm going to go just a half on that. I need 1 teaspoon of black pepper. A half a teaspoon of oregano. This was the homegrown oregano. And that is it on this seasoning mix. So now I'm just going to take and mix this all together, and I'm going to heat this up. So let me go ahead and get a whisk. I will blend this up. And just give me 1 second here. Now then, while this is in here heating up, I'm going to go ahead and assemble our baking dish. So this is using an 8x8 dish right now. Like I said, this is normally for a 9x13. So I'm going to use about half of that. Somewhat of a half. What I have available. How's that? Now I'm going to go ahead and grease the inside of it to keep it from sticking. And I'm going to take my sliced turnips. We're going to make a lasagna actually out of this. So we're going to line the bottom of this baking dish with these turnips. Just like so. I don't know if you, yeah, you can see this. And believe this or not, by the time you're through making this, you will not know that these are turnips instead of potatoes. We have done this one before, and it's the reason why I'm doing it again. It became a go-to. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this up. I'm going to pour some of this over the top, and we're going to keep repeating this method. And I'm also going to be adding some cheese into the layers along with the meat. So this is where I'm also going to sprinkle some of that meat on the top of this. You could use whatever you want. If you want to use chicken, you can use chicken. If you want to use ham, you can use ham. Whatever you prefer. And if you don't want to have any meat whatsoever in there, you don't have to. It'll taste good either way, y'all. And if you want to just make it a scalloped potato, you don't even have to add the cheese. Now I'm going to go ahead and heat this up, and we'll be right back. Alright, y'all, so we're going to spread some of this cheese in here now. I'm going to reserve some for later for that final. Now I'm going to take some of this mix that we have here and spread that over the top of these potatoes. Set that aside and do another layer just like so. You want to overlap these turnip layers, as you can see here. Just like that. I think there's not a whole lot left, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish these off in some of these empty spaces, and we'll have a 2-layer just like so. That's it. Now I'm going to finish this. Nope. Again with the meat, and then the cheese, and then my sauce. There's the meat. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my cheese. You can use any cheese preference you want. I'm using cheddar. His recipe was Gruyere and Parmesan, so I'm just going to use the cheddar in this one. Now I'm going to finish pouring the rest of this sauce on the top of this. And just like the other one, we're going to cover this up with aluminum foil. And then we are going to bake this one for 1 hour and 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of this out of here. I like getting all the liquid that we can out of things. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cover this up, and then I'm going to put both of these potatoes scallop dinners into the oven. Now, this one is set for 375. It is a 25-degree difference. Excuse me, y'all. It is a 25-degree difference because the other one is set for 350. This one may take a little longer than 1 hour and 20 minutes. I will be checking it and see how it goes at 350. I didn't want to change and do 2 different times, and I'd like to have them both done at the same time. So I'll risk the 25 degrees, and if it means that this low-carb version has to cook a little longer, it's perfectly fine. So now I'm just going to take both of them, open up the preheated oven, add these to it, and then they're both going to go ahead and bake. And once they're finished, we will come back and I will show you the finished product. Okay, y'all, so our meal is in the oven and I am currently waiting for that. Now, I'm going to try and speak up a little louder. I know some have said they had a hard time hearing me over here, but honestly, this is where I have better lighting at, so I don't have fancy equipment. I just use what I have, and that's what I've been using for a year and 2 months. It's nothing but a simple phone. So maybe if things improve much later on, I will be able to upgrade. But for right now, it's been working, so we'll try to do the best that we can. To recap on 20 pounds of potatoes that I actually went and got. No, actually I did more than that. I had a 5-pound bag that I got for $2.99 was one, and those were from the russets. Then I had a 10-pound bag, which that was my expensive $7.47 pound bag. And then I bought a bag of jumbos that were $7.99. Now those jumbos went for a French fry meal one night, so, and I still had some left over. What I ended up doing is cutting what was left over and adding them, because I did the last of my canning today. And what that was is, like I told y'all, I was going to make russet potatoes strictly for mashed potatoes. I ended up getting 9 pints out of that. I tried the new version lids. I never knew about this brand. Now, I was given 2 different types. There was a gold one. They don't really actually have a name, I think. Or there was a name. I'm not sure what it was. I'll look it up. But then this brand here, which is, hang on, 4-jar. I have never heard of it, but I will tell you, every jar is sealed. So I was extremely happy over that. So I bless my angel. Thank you. God bless you for those lids, because I was getting really low and I needed them. I managed to get 9 jars of potatoes, and those are going on the shelf. That's not including, now the recap is exactly how much did I get out of all of those potatoes. Well, 9 jars of the russets for mashed potatoes. We have 7 jars, or these are pints, by the way, 7 pints of herb potatoes from the red potatoes. Those were $5.19 for a 5-pound bag. We have 1.5 gallons of sliced dehydrated potatoes, which part of what we used for supper tonight. And I have 1 quart jar of shredded dehydrated potatoes. That will last me, because it's just for me myself, that will last me for quite a while, and I will wait out these high rank prices until potatoes start to drop again. And I really do believe they will drop. We got the holidays coming. You know, they got to always make it look good, and they got to make those sales look great, so they're going to drop those prices. And honestly, my husband's apples. Now, he loves his green apples, and he can eat those moderately. But at almost over $6 for a 5-pound bag of apples, we chose to set them aside and not touch them. Certain things, y'all, we just have to say, leave them to their spoils. We don't have to pay these prices. We can find an alternative. And our alternative, honestly, we found a fantastic deal on strawberries. We got them for, I think they were $1.79 for the smaller ones and $2.99 for the bigger ones. So we left the apples that were about $7 on the shelf, and we picked up 2 of the containers of strawberries instead. So this is how we get around these situations. We will take a better option that we know is better for us, and we will substitute it and wait it out. We'll leave them to their spoils, and then we'll wait, and once we get a good deal, then we'll put them in our cart. So, I mean, it's the only way to shop these days. This mad hike rise just doesn't cut it for us, so we'll do what we have to do. And I know everybody else is doing the same thing, but I just wanted you to know how much of those potatoes we actually got. So I'm going to wait right now until these are out of the oven, and I will be right back since the grandkids are coming in. So it's going to get noisy, and I'm not going to let you go through that. We'll be back. Now this one just came out of the oven, y'all. This is the low-carb scalloped potatoes, or au gratin potatoes. And I will try to show you how soft they all went through. And then over here we have the other potatoes that were dehydrated. These are super soft too. They actually taste fantastic, y'all. So would I do this again? Absolutely. This works out perfect. So, and we will be right back. So the question, and I apologize for the noise, y'all. The question is, would I do this again? And my answer would be absolutely. I find that dehydrating those potatoes work absolutely well. They reconstitute extremely well. So, and they're used for more than just scallops. I can see them working for many, many different things, including hash browns, fried potatoes, anything that you would want. So if potatoes end up coming back down, I will probably do some more for more stock for the winter. I'm hoping this video helped you. I'm hoping it was easy enough. I will put the recipe in the description box below, along with, again, for the dried mix, just in case those who missed that video where I had the dehydrated potatoes and then the dry mix. I'll put that in there again. I will put the link to Papa G's low-carb au gratin potatoes, and hope you enjoy them just as much as we do. I do have some bread making videos coming up and everything, so be on the lookout for those. Basically, the bread recipes, it may not be so much as the typical sandwich, but the one-person Mediterranean style Turkish breads, stuff like this. So it will be interesting, flavorful, and hopefully helpful in many ways. I love you all dearly. Until next time, much love from Parton's Heritage Homestead.